Now, ladies and gentlemen,
oh dear,
we have something very fun planned here today because, you see, we say a lot of things here at Fantasy Pros. We get paid to talk, and we talk a lot, and sometimes we're really right about things, and sometimes not so much. With the help of our incredible team here, who've been putting in the overtime, I had a crazy idea. Wouldn't it be fun to hit all the guys with some of their bold predictions from earlier in the 2024 season, for better or worse, so we can be accountable? And my accountability buddies today, Pat Fitzmaurice, Andrew Erickson, Derrick Brown, are all here to help us be accountable, because we need to be accountable, for better, for worse. Process is a great thing. Sometimes the process was good, the results weren't the same. Sometimes everything was bad, and sometimes everything was pretty darn good too. So the guys have no idea what I'm going to show them next, and we're going to go one by one. It's not quite a roast, but it's certainly going to be an entertaining time looking back on the things that we said in 2024, what came true, what didn't. Let's start with clip number 1 and Derrick Brown. Seth, roll it.
Oh, well, we've all, speaking of guys we've loved the entire offseason, I have not shut up about this guy since freaking January. So you're giving me an avenue where I can give a bold prediction about somebody. It's Jaleel McClaughlin, baby. He's going to be an RB2 in fantasy this year.
Now, I'm looking in the RB2s for Jaleel McClaughlin, and I don't see him there. Now, I understand the process, and part of the process, like Pat, like Javonte Williams, people wanted in on Sean Payton running backs, and I get that. But unfortunately, it did not come true. D-Bro, any final thoughts on the season for Jaleel McClaughlin, what might have been?
Oh, man. Yeah, it sucked. I was big into Jaleel the entire year.
He's trending up, though. Late season.
He did, man. I mean, it was like the beginning of the year. It was okay. Penix was playing terribly. The offensive line is not good, and then it became a 3-way committee, and you were like, okay, well, we can't play any of them. So part of this was I'll stand by the process of it, but also yes, it failed, and I apologize to all the fantasy managers that have drafted Jaleel.
All right. Well, look, not everything you said was bad. Something.
Oh, that's good to know.
Look, this is going to be a nice cross section of good and bad, but most importantly, fun.
I knew Jaleel was going to be on the list. I knew it.
Michael Callie and I worked very closely, going through hours and hours of tape to find some fun things. Now, there's one guy that you were in on more than anybody else, and you convinced me. I didn't need too much convincing, but you convinced me anyway, and we fought over this guy in a lot of drafts.
Oh,
let's hear your take about Brian Robinson Jr.
Oh, Brian Robinson Jr. will be this year's Alfred Morris. He will be an RB1 in fantasy. And I know everybody's so concerned about the offensive line. Everybody's so concerned about this offense in general. I'm not.
Now, look, he certainly had a chance at it. He did miss 3 games. So that was a problem there. He ended up finishing, I'm looking right now in the PPR. Actually, well, for him, I think it's more fair to gauge him in the half PPR settings. But certainly a very good season, very productive season, a solid RB 29 overall there. And for his draft stock, very cheap. And certainly, it seemed to be a guy that was scoring touchdowns at a good clip. So unfortunately, he didn't finish as an RB1. But certainly, I think a successful year for Brian Robinson Jr. that I think bodes well for him in the future, because Austin Eckler, another year older, another year injured. It seems like, either they're going to replace that role or it's going to just be more Brian Robinson in 2025.
Yeah, I agree, Joey. I mean, this all comes down to he started out really well, and then he just couldn't stay healthy. It was one nagging injury after another, and he came back, wasn't getting the snap roll and stuff. I mean, if he would have stayed healthy the entire season, I think we would have seen it. If not RB1, he would have been top 15.
All right. Don't get too comfortable, Fitz, because we're coming for you next. This is the D-Bro segment of the show here. Let's go to another D-Bro clip from last summer, talking about a quarterback.
All right, so I'm going to tie a few different things together here, because in their own little buckets, people might say this is not a hot take, but Caleb Williams is going to set Chicago Bears' single-season record in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and completions.
No.
Did he not? He didn't break the Jay Cutler records?
Did he? I gotta see.
He's close.
It might be close.
Say, those are pretty low bars. He might have broke some of those.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I gotta look. Oh my gosh,
pretty low. I don't know, but he didn't come anywhere near 4,000 pounds.
Did he beat Bobby Douglas? And
he was okay. He finished fifth amongst the Bears' top 5, so 5th in passing yards in the season.
But he's not in the Mount Rushmore.
Well,
yet.
here's the fun part: is Eric Kramer actually 38-38 was the highest number back in '95. Eric Kramer,
Caleb.
there's a name. But was Caleb a complete bust for you this year, or just kind of a meh rookie season here, where he just kind of took his lumps with all the situation between the Bears' offensive coordinator getting fired, the coach getting fired, everything just being a disaster around him?
I mean, it's funny because there's a definite dichotomy. I was lower than consensus on Caleb as a prospect throughout the entire NFL draft season. I got flamed for having him as my QB3 of the draft class. But the closer we got to the season, I was like, look, he's got a lot of weapons. This offense is going to pass a ton. And he just had a monumental face plant. I mean, he was about as bad as you could expect for a rookie quarterback, and woof. So
he was, but to the point, I think it was Fitz or Erickson was making, or both of them. It wasn't a huge bar. You were just saying he was going to be the best of the Bears quarterbacks,
and he still wasn't, though. I mean, just keeping it honest, he still wasn't.
He's no Eric Kramer, that's for sure. One more, and this was a guy that I like too, and I'm not drafting anymore in 2025. Seth Dywald. Roll the clip on Christian Watson.
Yeah, we're talking about Nico Collins and how special his 2023 season it was last year. Well, I'm going to give you the 2024 version of Nico Collins right now. And that is Christian Watson. 2024 Christian Watson will be 2023 Nico Collins. And I know everybody is crafting their hamstring jokes right now as you're listening to me. Save them, because Christian Watson is going to bury and put all of those in a coffin with his performance this year.
Well, you were right about one thing. Buried in a coffin is right. Buried in a coffin is absolutely correct. He buried so many of my teams in a coffin. He came in a good value, so it was worth the risk. Just very frustrating.
I gotta return the coffin. Is there a pawn shop around that will take it? Please.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Somebody.
All right, let's put Derrick Brown out of his misery again. A lot of great work from
Derrick Brown in the coffin.
I think you heard
it. But look, again, process good. You saw the big playability. You saw it with Rodgers. Then you saw it in glimpses with Jordan Love. It was like, can he just stay healthy? The answer is no. No, he can't, and not consistent enough. So. There you go. It's important to learn from our mistakes here. Let's move on to Andrew Erickson. Andrew Erickson, I hope that cardigan you're wearing is warm, because some of these takes are ice cold. But not this first one. This first one aged like fine wine. Roll the clip.
Brian Thomas Jr. leads all rookie wide receivers in receiving yards. So that's my Tabasco
Let's go.
hot take.
Tabasco.
Yeah, Tabasco on fire.
Spicy meatball. Good job, Erickson.
Andrew Erickson. And I don't think there was another football analyst out there in the fantasy space that was talking about Brian Robinson Brian Thomas Jr. like you were. And kudos to you, credit to you. You nailed it, and it came true. How does it feel to look back at that? The confidence, it's amazing the confidence in which Derrick Brown delivers some of his takes. But the confidence of you delivering this take right here, and then it being right and spot on, that's got to feel pretty good. Did you cash in everywhere on that too?
Yes. Yeah, I did. I got 18-1 odds on FanDuel. So it was. I think the thing that I'm most proud about it is I thought it was just really good process. Like, it wasn't just like, throwing a bet at a wall, just trying to take a bold prediction. I looked at the Jaguars receiving situation. Calvin Ridley was gone from that offense. Zay Jones was gone from that offense. It was an underrated landing spot, because I looked at, there are so many vacated targets in this offense. And I looked at Calvin Ridley's role in 2023, how great that was in terms of his expected production, but Ridley wasn't the talent, or at least he wasn't the talent in Jacksonville that I thought Brian Thomas could be in the NFL. And it also goes back to, we see these teammates on the same college team just get undervalued. The reason Brian Thomas didn't put up better numbers at LSU is because of Malik Neighbors, not because he's not good. So, I mean, I'll be honest, like, Brian Thomas Jr., the talent, bailed me out, because when Trevor Lawrence got hurt, that's when I got the most concerned. That was not into my process. If you had told me Mac Jones was going to be his quarterback all year long, would not have made that bet on Brian Thomas Jr. But give credit to the player being uber talented as a first round pick. And yeah, Brian Thomas Jr., definitely one of my biggest hits. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the misses are that you have queued up.
Oh, I was going to say, not every
don't get
take of yours
comfy.
was red hot. So I hope you're taking a seat after that victory lap. Let's see Andrew's take about the Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers. Yes, the team that the number 1 overall pick that they didn't get to pick because they traded it away. They're going to make the playoffs this year.
Whoa.
In 2024. Carolina Panthers.
Whoa.
So here's how it's going to go. Here's how it's going to go.
Here's how it's going to go. It did not go. It did not go. It did not happen. Now, I will say this. The second half of the year, Panthers were plucky. They were exciting. They covered a lot of games. They took some good teams to their limits. Andrew Erickson, ironically, somewhere around week 10, swore off the Panthers on the betting shows that we did together. And that's when they started to get really good. They started to turn things around.
Until they were favored against Dallas. And then
it all came crashing down. It all came crashing down. All right. Let's run through another one of Andrew Erickson's takes. A lot of Jacksonville stuff for Andrew Erickson in 2024.
My first hot take is Trevor Lawrence, quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, leads the NFL in passing yards.
He did not lead the league in passing yards. Spoiler alert. He probably wasn't going to regardless. Here's the big question, though. I think it's too early to call Trevor Lawrence a bust. We are going to get another quarterback. This will be his third quarterback, another offensive coordinator, another system. Is Trevor Lawrence just kind of snake bit here, Andrew Erickson, for the rest of his career? Does he need to get out of Jacksonville to recoup his fantasy value, or can he reach the heights of that number 1 overall pick that we had so much generational talent conversation about?
Well, I mean, he's got Brian Thomas Jr. So that's working. That's working positively in his outlook. Look, I think that, again, I'm not sure how it's going to shake out with Jacksonville. Trent Baalke's there. That's obviously a reason why head coaches may not want to go to Trent Baalke. But if anything, it's like, hey, maybe you'll have a longer leash here, depending on what your production is. So, I mean, if Ben Johnson goes to Jacksonville, then I'm going to be back in on Trevor Lawrence in this Jaguars offense. So, yeah, Trevor Lawrence, it's tough, but you have to look at the system. Like, he just never seemed to have had that perfect marriage between offensive coordinator, play caller, head coach, and him. Like, that really hasn't worked out, and it didn't work out with Doug Peterson. Obviously, it didn't work out with Urban Meyer. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he still has, I think, the tools. He runs a little bit, so I don't think that he's totally useless in fantasy. And if Brian Thomas Jr. turns into a top 5 NFL wide receiver, which he looks like he's on his way, then, yeah, you're going to have to at least be interested in the quarterback.
All right. Pat Fitzmaurice has been waiting quietly and patiently as if I would not call on him, but I am. We got plenty of clips on you too, Pat Fitzmaurice. Let's start with one regarding a guy that you and I certainly went at it over, Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor rushes for 2,000 yards and finishes as the RB1 in fantasy.
He did not rush for 2,000 yards. Saquon Barkley did. In fact, Derrick Henry almost did. But Jonathan Taylor, 1431, a respectable season. You were a little off there. Was it the season you were really hoping for from Jonathan Taylor?
No. Well, Joe, he was trying to play catch up at the end there. If the regular season had gone 20 weeks, I think we would have gotten there. So no, it didn't. I really
4 more weeks of the season. What do we want?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking about how mobile quarterbacks sort of spike the rushing efficiency of their running backs frequently. How the the Alfred Morris season with RG3 back in the day. Thought we might see something similar with Shane Steichen, Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis. Didn't really see it. Didn't work out. Like, I'm starting to worry that Taylor's ankle issues might be chronic. But when he was healthy at the end of the season, I mean, you probably didn't make the fantasy playoffs if you had Jonathan Taylor on your team. But if you did somehow get in there, he was great for you down the stretch.
Great at the end. Maybe if you traded for him late. So Caleb Williams, rookie quarterback that Debro had some takes on. Fitzy had a take on a rookie quarterback too. Let's see it.
Michael Penix is the Falcons starting quarterback by the end of October. Kirk Cousins has become this sacred cow in the fantasy football world because he's put up consistently respectable numbers. I would contend that Cousins is a much better fantasy quarterback than real life quarterback. So in other words, I think Kirk Cousins is kind of overrated.
All right. Well, you had the right thing, the wrong date. Wasn't until into December where we got that move. But Fitzy,
that's a Raheem Morris problem. That's not
he was spiritually correct.
He was spiritually correct, but Fitzy, they were kind of up against it, right? Because they were kind of close and in it. They had the bye, and then the week after they came back, then they had Minnesota, and there was no way they weren't going to let Cousins play that game, right? So really the schedule kind of caught the Falcons. So Michael Penix, did you see enough at the end to get excited about him next year in the Falcons offense?
Yes, indeed. That guy can spin it, man. That guy has
man.
talent.
Thank you. I was saying that all last year, and everyone told me, why are you so high on Penix? I'm like, because that guy just has reckless abandon, throws the football with all kinds of confidence, and he made Drake London look pretty good at the end.
Yeah, the other thing, Joe, the secret sauce with Penix, he does not take sacks. Like, he was barely sacked in college, and obviously that was a big issue with Caleb Williams in Chicago. Like, Penix is great at sack avoidance, and man, does that guy have arm talent.
All right, I don't know if you're going to like the next couple here. We made you look good at the beginning, set you up. Let's go to clip number 3 about a Texans wide receiver.
Nico Collins scores fewer fantasy points than both Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell.
Ooh, not the freshest of looks there. Why did you think that at the end of the day that it was not Nico Collins as the wide receiver one, that it was potentially Diggs as the new guy, or even Tank Dell?
I was hoping you were going to continue to roll more of the clip so I could find out what my convoluted logic was in that. Like, I can't even remember.
I don't know. Maybe a couple, one too many tequilas before the show. I don't know. You're just feeling fast and loose with the Texans takes.
I mean, I kind of thought that Stephon Diggs, with his personality, would just not consent to being a second or third wheel in that offense. And I like Tank Dell like everyone else on the staff did. So let's erase that one from the memory bank.
All right. That one was pretty rough. So we're gonna cut the last one of yours too, because that guy got hurt. So I don't want to talk about it. But I am not above accountability either. I say a lot of things. So let's roll number 1 from our bowl predictions.
Make it good, Callie.
Let's see how it is, Callie.
Make it good.
Just like Andrew Erickson, who just turned 30, a lot of people are telling him that, it's all downhill from there. It can't be anymore. Everything is going to be terrible. And I'm hearing the same thing about Derrick Henry. And I, for one, am sick and tired of hearing it. And Derrick Henry, I think, is ready to prove something. I think Derrick Henry's got a lot in the tank, and I think Derrick Henry is going to lead the league in rushing, so much so this year that I am willing to wager it, and you can track me over on Betting Pros when I put my wagers in, because it's going to be there for him to lead the league in rushing this year.
He was close.
So close. Oh,
Saquon just screwed us all over.
He really did.
We all had that over rushing touchdowns at plus money on Betting Pros, though.
Let me tell you something. I will say this too. I had the number that was set was 925.5 for him. I think he hit that in like week 9 or something crazy like that. And I've never bet a number so fast in my life as when that 925.5 came out. I said, well, are you kidding me? That's the number you're putting out for Derrick Henry and the Ravens. All right. So that wasn't too bad. It wasn't super embarrassing. All right, let's see number 2.
Come on, Callie, bring the sauce.
I'm gonna go with my first take that Jayden Daniels outscores Caleb Williams in fantasy points this year. That's right, I said it. There you go. Looks like Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams, and that might seem like not so hot now, but at the time, Caleb Williams was by far the favorite for Rookie of the Year. Jayden Daniels wasn't even number 2. It was Marvin Harrison Jr. on the board. So in terms of impact rookies, people really did. Maybe if I had said Bo Nix, it would have been a hotter take probably, but I wasn't thinking that was possible. But all right, Jayden Daniels, that's pretty good. All right, there's got to be something bad here. Let's go through another clip here. What do you got, Callie? Alvin Kamara is getting disrespected. Okay. He missed 4 games last year. Okay. You go back and you look at what he did last year, 3.9 yards per carry. The year before, 4 yards per carry. The touchdowns really weren't there for him last year, but we could say that about the Saints in general now, can't we? In PPR leagues, Alvin Kamara is going to be an RB1. That's right. I said it.
I'm waiting for the bad clip. What are we getting at?
What is it?
I don't know. Maybe my takes are just better than yours.
Wait. Rigged.
I don't know. It kind of feels like some of these takes are pretty good.
Harrison Jr.
Come on.
I don't know.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
I just want to say for the record, Alvin Kamara finished as RB9. And that was with missing some time. So missing some time. All right. Wait, surely there's a bad prediction here somewhere. Let's go to the next.
Yeah, I doubt it at this point.
All right. And then there were one more take for you. And I think this one the boys are going to like a lot because I've been laying in the weeds and, I've been yelling at them about quarterback play and I yelled at them about Darren Waller. And then I yelled at everybody about this other tight end too. I said, look, you can't be good unless you have somebody good throwing you the football. And now he does. Kyle Pitts, tight end 1 this year. That's right. Not Travis Kelce, not Sam Laporta. It's Kyle Pitts. Boo, so bad.
Time.
He didn't finish as a tight end 1. Forget tight end 1 overall. He didn't even finish as a tight end 1, right? He was way past there.
Tight end 1 is
tight end 15. Tight end 15. You know what? I should have listened to myself there. I really screwed the pooch because you're right. Joe from the past, he didn't have good quarterback play again this year, and you should have realized that. But maybe if Fitz's dream had come true and we were talking, what did you say? October 1st there, Fitzy? Is that the date you said?
Joe, even Michael Penix Jr. couldn't resuscitate. Okay, sorry.
All right.
He tried.
So, officially, though, thank goodness we didn't do this the year you guys were all on Darren Waller. Let me tell you, oh my God, that would have been the best. We could just call it the Darren Waller experience. But yeah, this was it was my turn this year to take the L on Kyle Pitts. So I'm gonna own it. It sucks. He's got all the size, all the speed, all the tools. He just
he's gonna be great in 2029 on the Commanders.
Oh God, great.
I was going to say I was waiting for 2025. Don't do it to us, Aaron.
2029.
So, all right, finally something embarrassing for me. All right, there's one more here. Let's play this last clip and we'll get out of here. Lad McConkey is going to have 100 receptions in his rookie season. That's right, I said it. Didn't quite get there. 82.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he did, though. So,
I mean,
did you have to look and say, did he have 100?
I had to look. I was like,
he missed a couple games, I think. So, I mean,
he did. I think he missed 2 or something like that. Pat Fitzmaurice, I was like Mr. Lad McConkey going into the year. I was very impressed with how he showed out. The numbers bear it out. Are we having big expectations for him in year 2?
Oh, definitely. Like I didn't know if he could be an alpha receiver. That was my question about him. I thought he might be kind of a complimentary guy. He is a wide receiver 1, no question.
Where are all of our Quentin Johnston takes?
They're buried somewhere deep. Well,
I thought we were going to get like a J.K. Dobbins take from Erickson on air.
Well, I just going to put this out there, boys. You know, now that you know this is going to be a thing,
bring it.
Just be careful with your takes in August.
Yeah, bring it. Here for it.
But there was a lot of good there. There's a lot of good process, some not so good, but accountability at the end of the year. That's what it's all about. I think the big winner in terms of best prediction has to go to Erickson. Does everyone want to agree and give him that award? BTJ, yeah. I think was, so you're the big winner. So congratulations, Andrew Erickson, the best of the fun predictions that actually came true there. I was close on Derrick Henry. He's too old. No, he's not. Andrew Erickson's not too old either.
If you had said he's going to rush for 1,900 yards and not lead the NFL in rushing, I'd be like, well, you're nuts.
Yeah, you would.
Does my Jaleel take get the worst? Do I get the toilet bowl trophy?
Would you have said it was nuts if Saquon Barkley was the guy I said was going to have more in 2,000 yards? With all of his injuries, I would have thought maybe you would think that's.
Well, here's the other thing with Saquon, right? What if I told you, okay, among Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, Saquon misses the least amount of games?
Yeah,
that literally happened.
Yeah, I know, that is crazy stuff. All right, so thanks everybody, and of course, good sports here. Pat Fitzmaurice, D-Bro, Derrick Brown, and Andrew Erickson, 3 of the best analysts of the business. But even the best sometimes give us some good entertainment value, and we can't be right all the time, except me about takes regarding running backs. Apparently, I'm red hot. Gotta stay on that. But yeah, seriously, no. But look, we all say some things we wish you could take back, but that's the fun of this show. We have a moment to look back in retrospect and focus on 2025 and be better. Make sure you're better with us and make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel over here at Fantasy Pros. Ring the bell till it goes ding for notifications. And of course, comment with your favorite of the takes or some takes that you were right about or takes that you were horribly wrong about, because it happens to everybody once in a while. Even you out there, you know who you are. And we want you to be with us here for the entire 2025 season, because we've got dynasty content. We've got NFL draft content coming up. We've got out of bounds going on. We've got so many things. And of course, wildcard weekend. Don't forget Saturday, 4:15 on the Betting Pros channel. Scott Bogman and myself hanging out. Tune in. Chargers, Texans. We're going to be live during the game, talking betting, in-game live betting opportunities. Be with us for all of that. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For 3 of my favorite humans on the planet, Pat Fitzmaurice, Andrew Erickson, and Derrick Brown, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.
Oh, that was painful.
Yes, we must experience pain in order.
Oh, dude, I love it.
I'm just happy no one brought up the Josh Palmer predictions for me.
Oh,